Hello summoners and welcome to the Mobalytics patch 8.9 video tier list. This patch we have seen the rise of some carry or fighter style junglers, we've seen the overall nerfs to mana and mid lane control mages who were doing really well, and finally the buffs to some weaker champions that may actually help them finally rise to power. Anyway, here's the tier list. Firstly, for top lane, things are mostly unchanged, especially in S tier. Camille and Singed have kind of been dominating solo queue for quite a while, but there are a few mix-ups as far as Malphite making it into A tier and a few things dropping down to B, but I specifically want to talk about Conqueror champions. Champions who can use Conqueror have been pretty successful ever since its release, and one of those champions is definitely Darius. Technically, you will see Darius players going either Phase Rush or Conqueror, but as far as the champion goes, he's one of the highest success, pick rate, and ban rate champions all throughout the lower brackets and into the higher brackets. He's definitely a good champion and there's a reason why he gets banned. For junglers, carry style junglers have been able to come back, such as Graves and Xin Zhao, who find themselves in S tier. Graves ended up receiving some very meaningful buffs, and it shot his win rate way up into the top tier and brought his play rate up, and he's still seeing a lot of success. And there's kind of an issue of balance when Graves is strong. When Graves is the best jungler or one of the best junglers in the game, he really crowds out a lot of tank junglers. Graves can kinda just walk all over tank junglers. He can invade them, he can take their camps, and he can duel them, which means that tank junglers become less viable if Graves is open and the Graves knows what he's doing. As for Xin Zhao, he's definitely a more interesting case because he didn't receive the level of buffs that Graves did in order to become top tier, but it was more build optimization. A lot of players started figuring out the Phase Rush Xin Zhao, and as soon as they did that, his win rate and success rate and play rate all across the board started increasing, and now he's one of the best junglers in the game. Some of the other junglers did get nerfed, which helped bring him into the top tier, but the Phase Rush build is really where it's at. Onto the mid lane, where there's definitely a decent mix-up in the pool. Firstly, Unsealed Spellbook changes means the champions like Vlad or Twisted Fate are a bit worse because they were using Spellbook before, but TF is a bit better off because he can always take Comet, whereas other champions like Orianna are down because of the Control Mage nerfs. Kassadin received some nice buffs to his Q shield early game, and he's going to be quite a bit better. It's interesting because even though technically he's not that hard of a champion to play, in lower ranks and in solo queue for the most part outside of high elo, he's not very successful. So ideally you want to use Kassadin as a specific counterpick to champions like Katarina or Aurelion Sol. As far as the rest of the dynamic of mid lane, it'll be assassins versus control mages, and we'll see which one comes out on top for dominance. Onto the bot lane for AD carries, Draven has made it into S tier. This time around, this guy is really scary. The thing is before that Draven really didn't have a proper keystone for him, but now that he's found his place with Conquer and Press the Attack, this means that Draven is all of a sudden one of the best, if not the best AD carry for climbing and solo queue in the game. It's absolutely fair to say that his success and his win rate are only because he has a lot of one tricks, but if you actually look at it, his win rate is steadily increasing and his play rate is steadily increasing, so overall the champion is really good for solo queue. Other ADCs have been moved down and kind of mixed up a bit due to some direct nerfs, such as Kai'Sa, Xayah, and Caitlyn, and Varus is pretty bad at the moment due to the changes they gave him. It's also hard to say for Rageblade AD carries such as Kog'Maw, Kai'Sa, and Varus where they will end up due to the bug fix that was in the patch notes. We don't actually know how much this was in quotes impacting or bugging out certain damage levels. They say it was pretty high for Jhin and Master Yi, so it's a little bit tough to tell. Finally, moving on to supports, we do see Rakan making it back into S tier, but we still see Nami and Janna doing very well. The rest of the support pool is all about who can use Summon Aerie the best, who can use Ardent the best, and who can use Zeke's Convergence the best. An example of a champion who's been pushing her way up and starting to do very well and draw a lot of picks and a lot of bans is Morgana. Morgana just shuts down a lot of the champions in solo queue that people want to play, and she's really good against Blitzcrank and Thresh, who are very popular. She's also been popping up decently well in mid lane, and she's great against champions like LeBlanc, so if you want to think about it in terms of that, then maybe Morgana is one of the best mid laners as well. I think if we're being honest, until there are more Ardent nerfs or more direct nerfs to some of the best supports in the game, I kinda shy away from B tier at the moment, because although there are some champions that are pretty good in there, you can definitely still win games on Bard. The problem is that the B tier is just so far below the S tier at the moment because Rakan, Nami, and Janna are just so good. Anyway, this has been the Mobalytics patch 8.9 video tier list. Make sure you follow us on all our socials and check out the product at mobalytics.gg. And if you want to see the old tier list or go back to reference them, the link will be in the description down below. And thanks for watching.